Welcome, everybody. I'm Kevin Frost, and I'm happy to present to you the Small Business Trifecta, getting online with Google, website accessibility, and harnessing AI. Hello, everyone. I am, in fact, Kevin Frost, you guys' presenter today, and we are going to be going over the Small Business Trifecta, getting online with Google, website accessibility, and how to harness AI. Before I jump too far into my own presentation, I'd love to learn more about who's all here during our presentation. So if you could type in the chat your business's name and the primary service or product that you guys have to offer. I want to learn more about what you guys actually do. Plus, you never know who's in chat. They can actually benefit from knowing who you are. All right, so we will get started into that presentation here now, though. So I am your guys' presenter, Kevin Frost, and I was born and raised actually here in Mesa, Arizona. I'm married with a couple of kids, three of them to be exact, two girls and a boy. 1-year-old's already running around like crazy, a lot of kids, a lot of fun. Over 5 years ago, I actually founded the company Standing 360 Virtual Tours. It's where I offer a wide range of services, but really just being a technology problem solver in general. I've been doing presenting with Google workshops now for over 4 years, and I've been in this technology space for a while now. And so that's what we're going to be talking today about, all of those different things about getting online with Google, and not just Google, but online in general, showing up on maps and more. I've been doing photos, photography. I'm a master photographer with Google. So I've been doing this for a while, but I don't do just business photography stuff and presentations. Really, it's all about verifying businesses, making sure businesses are creating their profiles correctly, and building and maintaining that online business profile, all the way from the front end, the back end development, and so much more. But that's just me. This topic today we're going to be going over to, or at least my goal today is to at least cover most of these topics in detail. And if there's only one thing that you can remember from today's workshop, is that if you have a business, please, oh please, get online, make it accessible to not just people, but robots too, and capitalize on all of those AI resources that are already out there and free. We will be going over some additional resources and a Q&A at the very end of today's presentation. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate. You can feel free to type them in chat. We'll get to them before the end of the show today. And even if it's something that's related to what we're currently talking about, I'm more than happy to address it during the presentation as well. All right, so before we get too far though, again, welcome everyone. Allison, hey Angela, great to see you again. Gosh, I love seeing this, all these different businesses, this is great. Thanks for attending, guys. All right, so let's start. Why show up online? Why even exist online? So not only is it where a lot of people will be is online, but customers. And that's what people really want, right? We want our customers that are searching for us or are interested in our products or services to be able to find us. And today's world is fast. More than 88% of consumers who actually do a local search on their smartphone will visit and or call a business within that same day. So that just shows that people are searching online and they are actively doing things to make sure that the business that they're looking for is there. And not only do they actually show up when they are looking for you, but 46% of all Google searches are looking for local information. So it's not just the big brands that can compete online. It's the smaller companies, it's the mom and pop shops, it's the real estate agent down the street, it's the boutique. There's so many different unique businesses around the world, even here in Arizona, that you'd be surprised that even existed at all. But really, they're looking for local information. You don't want to deal with a boutique all the way in Northern California if you're here in Mesa searching for something. So really, Google is a great place to start. And that's why I recommend, if you have a business or are getting online, Google is the best place to begin. And before I switch over to my Google slides, if you guys all could in chat as well, try to remember what was the first thing you ever Googled. Now, Google itself started back in what, 1997 timeframe. So it's been about 23 years that Google's been up and running for a while. You might not have used it the first year it was out, but most people have Googled something. So if you could try to remember the first thing that you ever Googled. Something to do with pregnancy complications that I had. Oh yeah, that's medical stuff for sure, for sure. How to get an AOL Messenger. I was one of those AOL kids. So I was only actually 7 when Google became much more of a thing. And it was very shortly after that, my family had gotten an old school computer, nothing like what you would see on the screen here. There was not two monitors. It was always a hand-me-down computer, very slow dial-up internet. That was a life for sure. One of the first things that I remember Googling was actually a cartoon show called Dragon Ball Z. It was a show that my brothers and I'm the youngest of seven, so I have 5 older brothers, and we always like to sit down and watch a show. And I remember trying to figure out like, oh, how do I watch all of the episodes? Where can I go to see them all? And I remember that being one of the first things that I Googled, at least. But really, for the business's side, being online is so important, and it's really how your business's voice can be heard. So if you're not online, your voice is a lot harder to be seen and heard. While it's not impossible to still get business from word of mouth, papered advertising, or many of the other ways to market a business in general, being online is free to do in many cases, and it's well worthwhile. Um, so let's talk about how we can actually be seen online, how you make sure that voice is heard, and how to make sure that that profile is verified and you keep control of that listing. So who you are, what you do, and how people connect with you or how they buy from you can all be shown online. And again, the best place that I recommend starting is Google. Now, just think how Google has made life so much easier in your day-to-day life, not just from the Google Business Profile listings, but from Google Search, Google Maps, even Google Photos. I mean, there are so many different small things that Google has been a huge proponent of, at least even in my personal life, in my family's lives, that everybody takes advantage of it today. And that's something that I highly encourage people to do, is to take advantage of Google right away, starting with Google and getting your business verified. It's called the Google Business Profile. And if you've ever gone out on a date night or treated yourself to a fancy meal on a mobile device, this right here is what it would look like. You have the business's name, when they open or when they close, directions to the business. You can see menus, reviews, all of the photos. And if you guys have not ever heard of this place is a sushi and grill. Big shout out to this place. My wife and I went there not too long ago. It's $30 for unlimited all you can eat sushi. They bring it out on a sushi boat. It's just really cool to see. It's hard to see in this image, but there's even like smoke that comes out of the boat as well. So if you love sushi, this is a great place to try out in the Tempe area. But what I wanted to highlight on here is that if the business was not on Google, I would have never found this place. Not only would I not have found it, even if somebody recommended it to me, I would have never known where it was at. So thankfully, this Google Business Profile was live and it was verified. Now, if you're on a computer, a Google Business Profile looks a little bit differently. And this is what it would look like if you're on a computer, right? You do a search, you have your query up here. You can click on that all maps, news, image. This should look familiar to almost everyone here. On this right-hand side, when this pops up, when it shows the photo or video of the business, usually up here is a map point or where it looks like on the maps in general. And then some more photos of the business. You've got the reviews, all of this information, right? So how do you actually get this live? It's really important. And like I said, I recommend doing this as the #1 step once you have your business opened and it's ready to accept customers. Even before a business is fully up and running, let's say you're starting a restaurant and you're like, hey, we're opening here in a month. You can actually start the process of getting verified online and getting a business up and running on Google Business Profile and just Google in general. But really, it's a way that customers can see and interact with your business. I have found over the last few years that Google is the #1 place for acquiring new customers, getting your information out there to your customers, and then also the best way to gain trust with your customers as well. So really important. The best things to get on the Google Business Profile are those high quality photos. Videos are really important on here as well, if you've got some. And then there's actually ways to respond to customers. I'm sorry, my headset just broke here. Let me fix that. Once you're on a Google Business Profile, this, and I just want to make sure my sound's still working right. Make sure you type in chat. You guys can still hear me? Okay, cool.
We can hear you, yep.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. Yes. So this is where you want to start. Really think of how customers are supposed to be seeing you and what you're supposed to look like. Because not only do you start with Google, but this is a place that you'll come back to many, many times again. if you went on a date night yourselves or took yourself out to a fancy meal and they didn't have Google Business Profile, it would be really hard to share that information with families and friends. And so if you've gone out recently, I guarantee you that place has had a Google Business Profile. Google is the #1 place for people go to for search, which is like Google search. There's Siri. There's so many different places that people can search nowadays, but really Google is the place that I have found that customers go to first. It's really important that there's some information you get right and to know ahead of time when it comes to getting your business profile up and running. The first one being your hours of operations. Now, for some businesses, they're like home-based businesses. You're like, oh, I'm open 24/7. Well, I've actually found that it's a little bit easier to get your hours of operations something what normal, like even if you're a 9 to 5, or if you have certain hours that you know you're not acceptable to new customers, you can address those in the Google Business Profile. And it's not just your hours of operations, but it's how you actually respond to reviews. So this is where customers can actually interact with you as a business from the consumer side. Something that just happened recently, if you have a Google Business Profile already in existence, one of the features that they recently had was chat. And to the point to where if you are on a mobile device and you reach out to a business, you can actually text a business through the Google Business Profile. I didn't see it like everybody using this, but just this last month, Google has announced that they are getting rid of this feature. So if your profile has it already, it's not going to be up for much longer. But it was just another way for consumers to interact with a business that wasn't just a phone call or a Q&A question. There are so many more ways still that you can interact with consumers, not just responding to the reviews. And by the way, Google does expect 100% review response rate. So if you've got reviews online, make sure you're responding to all of them.
We have a couple of
Another,
questions,
yeah,
Kevin.
yeah.
So we have
Go.
one in the Q&A from Steven. It says Google does not allow shared workspaces for business listings. He has a virtual office for the biz, but Google will not verify it.
It's a good question. What I recommend doing in that situation is not having a service like a location-based business, but a service area-based business. Usually in co-working spaces, that's where you're doing the work, but that's not a lot of times where your customers will come to. And so I would recommend, instead of saying, hey, this is the business map point where I'm at, you can adjust your business to being an area-based business. So let's say you service everybody in Maricopa County. You can say, hey, this is the area I service customers to. And then that way, anyone within that county or that area will still show your business on Google Search and Google Maps. But that map point won't physically be there. It'll just show up in the center of that county. So that's one way of getting around having a Google Business Profile, but not being able to actually use that physical map point. To that point, though, you are not allowed to use post office boxes as your Google Maps point either. You do need to have a mailing address that Google can verify you, and some of these other places as well. You need to have an address that Google can verify the information, but don't worry, you can use your home address, but don't share that publicly. I see that quite often, is that people have business locations or business addresses on Google, and it's actually their home address. When you do this, you might be found a little bit more online in that area, but then everybody that sees your business online is then able to actually see what your front door of your house looks like. And that's not always safe. So I do recommend switching to service-based businesses if your service itself works in a service area.
Perfect. Next question is from Sharon. She said, is Google best for businesses that are primarily doing business online all over the country? She does business mostly on the East Coast, so she can tutor mostly in the morning. And so she has a question about that. How do you,
Mm-hmm.
how do you
It's
handle
I would definitely recommend to do it as a service-based business with a caveat. So if it's solely just online, right, where customers are just visiting your website or just utilizing your website, instead of showing up on a Google Business Profile over here or over on this side, you still can with a service-based business. But the best place that you're going to want to show up is here on the organic results side. So you can pay to show up on top through ads. But if you work really hard on SEO and the website itself, anybody that's doing a search query for you or your business or your services, they should be able to have you show up on the organic results side. And we'll get more to the website side later. But if it's just solely an online business where customers are only interacting with you through a website, Google's recommendation is to only show up on the organic results. And the reason why is because if you have a service-based business, right? And you say, hey, I service this area. You can say, hey, I service all of the United States. But what that then does is it actually throws up a map point for you somewhere out in the water. Like it will literally put you out in the middle of the ocean. I've seen this before. So if someone says, "Oh, I service all the United States," the issue with that is that it's not specific enough. It's not local enough. It would be better to say, "Hey, I service everybody here in Phoenix." And then that way it shows your business in the center of Phoenix as a service area. But somebody from the East Coast can still search for your business and see your business through the Google Business Profile. It'll still show up like this, but it'll actually show the map point. Like you won't be able to request directions to the business, but it'll still show up almost all of this information. Now, this Google Business Profile here on the right side is specifically geared towards a restaurant. This is the service category that they are. Depending on the different category that your business is, changes what options you have to show up for. So, for example, if this was a hotel or a small business, it wouldn't have menu as one of the options. It would be listing your services.
We have a few more questions in the chat. I want to go a little bit faster. I know Kevin has quite a bit to get through.
Yes.
So Margarita was asking, yeah, Margarita's asking, do you not recommend making it 24/7 if you are online business?
You can do it 24/7. I recommend having it to where it's like something like 9 to 5, because if somebody reaches out to you at 2 a.m. and you do not respond, Google says, okay, this consumer was looking for this product or service, but they weren't able to get the service that they were looking for. They moved on to someone else. And so that doesn't show up. It doesn't make you look as good, if you will. You want to make sure that when customers are reaching out to you, you respond right away, and you're able to help them out right away as well. So by having hours of operations, even if it's somewhat normal hours, you can. But for example, my family's restoration business, they're a 24-hour emergency service-based company. So they are open 24/7, but that means that they always accept phone calls, even if it is 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, holidays or anything like that. So that's where it really, you got to weigh your pros and cons. If it is an online business only, you can select that you're open 24/7, but I've noticed it's a little bit better ROI when you have hours of operations.
Perfect. And then the last two questions are pertaining to making their business service area. Like the first one, Nadia, she does farmers markets. So will the service area work best for her? And then Margarita was asking for her online business. She does go to market sometimes. Should she also put that it's service based?
If I always say, if you can have a map point, if you do have a place that people can visit to you or like pick up products from you, you can utilize that address. You just got to make sure that it's able to, your business can accept mail at that address. Otherwise, yes, put it as a service-based business and make sure your business profile is getting reviews and people are actually interacting with your business profile. Because if you do a service-based business and nobody's reviewing you or interacting with your Google business profile, Google will even, you'll show up when somebody searches, right, on the organic listings. But sometimes I've seen a service area-based business, even if you type in their name perfectly in the search, their business profile won't show up, just because it's not getting a lot of interactions from the consumers. And so Google says, it's not even worth showing this. I'd rather just show their website. So I would recommend putting it as a service-based business. And then when you go to those farmers markets, make sure you're taking photos of your stall, what your products look like, and then posting it on your Google business profile. Now you see right here where it says updates. This is also something called posts. You can take those same posts that you'd use on social media like Instagram, Facebook, and other places and actually use them as posts on your Google business profile. So it's highly what I'd recommend doing. That way you can show, hey, I'm out in Tucson sometimes, I'm up in Scottsdale, in these different farmers markets. Here's what I look like while I'm there.
Perfect. All right. Back to the presentation, Kevin. I'll hold up on any
Yeah.
other.
No. Yeah, we'll do some more Q&A at the end. I'll try to get through this as fast as I can, because we have a lot of good information to cover. So one last warning that I wanted to have with Google specifically, people that have a Google business profile, be weary. If you have a business online, a responsibility you have is to respond to emails. And one of those things that if you do not respond to an email directly from Google, I don't have a slideshow, but it shows what it looks like, but it'll say, hey, so-and-so is requesting business owner access of this business listing. If nobody from the business responds within a certain amount of time, that person that requested ownership access can be given ownership access of a profile. Now, they won't be able to delete the profile for a couple of weeks, but they can change information almost immediately. And I've started to see this more and more where people are getting notifications, but they go, okay, this is a scam, or it could be Google. I'll get to it later. But I highly recommend, if it says, does this person own or is this person a part of the business? And it says it's from Google, please respond to that review, or sorry, respond to that email and mark them as not a part of your business and deny them access. The recent trend that I've started to see it a lot on is hotels and places that you could stay at, or where you can buy the room for multiple different websites. Somebody will take over the Google Business profile and just change the phone number to being like a WhatsApp cell phone number, and then they're able to receive all of those customers that you would have been receiving. So just be weary. If you own a business online, make sure you at least have one email that you have full control over. So if you don't respond to those, that person could end up owning the Google Business profile. And then if you don't update them or do anything within like 3 or 4 weeks, they can actually completely delete the business profile as well. So be wary of that. You don't want to lose hundreds and hundreds of reviews. Excuse me. But really, getting on Google is important. It's the first step that I recommend, and it's the greatest place for building consumer trust. If you don't already have one, this right here is the QR code to get a Google Business profile. I recommend if you're on a mobile phone, even if you have an iPhone, I recommend opening up the app on your phone, Google Maps. And if you are on an Android, you can just open up your mapping app, and it is Google Maps. But if you're on an iPhone, you actually have to physically download the app, Google Maps. Make sure you're signed in with the right email, and you could use this QR code, and it'll take you to the manager location, to where if you have like multiple different businesses, or say you accidentally created 3 of them, all of those would show up here once you go to this QR code, this website. So do you own your business listing? What do the other businesses around you look like? Really, where does your business stand online? This is one of those places that you can actually find out. Go to the QR code. It'll actually show you what businesses you have access to. And if you want to manage or edit your business information while we're doing this presentation, on the Google Maps app on your phone, so right, you're on the Google Maps app, the very bottom right-hand corner, there's a little button that says businesses, or just says business. And on there, if you're signed in with the right email, it will show you your business account that you can access. So even on your mobile device, they used to have a Google Maps app, but that has gone away with altogether. They are not servicing it anymore. So now to edit your business profile on Google, you actually use the Google Maps app and then click on that business button. All right. So let's say you have one. What do you do with it?